what do you do when you want to play Wii Sports but your Wii isn't working?
What do you mean Cookie Clicker for 3DS?
Yeah, you know Wii Sports, the best f***ing game ever. It's got bowling. Now, of course, we have the Nintendo Switch, 2 systems after the Wii. You know Nintendo needed to make this game as relevant to most of the population as possible, but they needed to put a game on here that resembles that. There was already 3D arcade fishing. Nintendo, you're really slacking here. So, therefore, Nintendo Switch Sports. It's something people have been begging for so many years. So people have been wanting a sports-related game for a long time by Nintendo to be a successor to Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort.
So Wii Sports Club. This was dumb.
Nintendo encourages crossbreeding, so this is just a remake, or if you want to look at it, an HD remaster of Wii Sports retaining all the sports from it. But the initial release was digital only, and it only had a 24-hour trial when downloaded digitally. And even not all the sports were available at launch. They did eventually release it on disc, having unlimited time and all sports included. But would you really want to do something like that? I bought a bottle of sauce like a week ago, and I just bought it again. Cookie Clicker being released all the way back in 2013 on the web and on Android in 2020 and finally on Steam in 2021. This is a game meant for not playing. Have you seen my progress?
This was all done by avoiding sex.
Cookie Clicker is one of those games that you only need to attend for like the first 5 minutes and then you can just say, okay, I'm good. I mean, this is not bad by any means. This game is kind of meant for you to pick up 5 minutes, just give up, come back later. It's not a standard, but it is Tuesday. But let me say something first. This is technically Cookie Clicker 2 by the original developer. There technically was a Cookie Clicker 1 known as Cookie Clicker Classic, but at the end of the day,
the court's overruled.
You see there is a big cookie on the far left to click, and doing so,
uh-oh.
There are so many things in the game that can help you out where you can be in Japan and still play the game in the United States. It's so amazing.
Go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back, go back.
This game falls in the category of idle gaming, with this game being one of the first successful ones. Idle gaming. It's just what it says. It is something you don't necessarily have to play, but you can do either one. In today's world, there's so many instances of idle gaming. A venture capitalist is another example, following the same concept. You start with a lemon stand, getting you as much as virtual money in a short amount of time, and later on by buying more things to get you more money. There are so many examples that follow this genre. SimCity Build It is kinda like that. A game just about building your own city and earning money. Clash of Clans, this would kinda count, but not at the same time. This game, I feel like you have to be active because this game, yeah, sure you can take care of your village, but as well as attack others, doing so will also result in your base getting attacked. This game can be stretched to be an idle game, but come on. Now, of course, Mario Golf Super Rush is just golf.
Son of a bitch.
Why yes, it did release on June 25th, 2021. Mario Golf is the one game that I actually cannot say anything bad about. This is out of my control. I get very upset when it comes to me falling asleep uncontrollably. This game initially had really nothing in terms of content when it first released though. Over time, there was updates to give new courses and characters. This is a sort of move in the gaming industry. No more paid DLC maps and things like that. We have now free updates and Battle Pass. Activision was first to do this. Now, I'm not going to talk about Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and the free updates adding maps from Black Ops 2 because they've done something to me very wrong and I know of. Mario Golf Super Rush being the first HD Mario Golf game. In some areas, this game is groundbreaking, and in other areas, it kind of feels like it's similar to other golf games. Since the last entry in the series on console was Mario Golf Toadstool Tour on the GameCube. Man. Not even a golf game was released on Wii or Wii U, which are the two best places for a Mario Golf game, because you have motion controls, but Nintendo thought Mario Strikers would be a better fit.
No more off track.
So Nintendo called Retro Studios to make a new Donkey Kong game, and this is what they squeezed out. Remember this one thing, this was the company that tried to make NFL Retro Football on the GameCube at one point, but they made Donkey Kong Country Returns anyways.
Finally, something that everyone can get laid to.
So the development started in 2008, and from what I saw, it kind of looked like they wanted something similar to the new Super Mario Bros. Wii when that game released. Now of course you may be wondering why! Because Nintendo tried milking these two series as much as they can throughout the 2000s and 2010s. During this time, the 2D playstyle started becoming a wanted thing again. And did Nintendo deliver? So the gameplay is kind of similar to Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. It kind of has a modern twist though, and it kind of makes sense. I feel like the first game was way better control-wise, but this game works too. So the plot gets rid of King K. Rool entirely.
Son of a...
King K. Rool was the main villain in the first 3 Donkey Kong Country and the Donkey Kong Land games, while he was the main villain in Donkey Kong 64, Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, and a recent fighter in the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, hasn't really been used much since his initial reign. So now, of course, you have to fight against these things called Tikis for some reason.
Only because it makes sense.
Coincidentally, Dino Dash was released on a DS as well, but damn it, we're on Hell's Kitchen. Starting up the game, we get to choose our name. Since we have Gordon Ramsay as our judge, we can name our character an ass. The game gives us a little bit of backstory. Time for the game. Now, of course, we choose our level, and we get to see our special for the day. None of this really matters from what I've played. I guess it's a precursor to the loading screen tips because it gives you a recipe, an actual recipe. Is this good?
Sonic 06 exists, and that should tell you the answer.
And then we do the classic Diner Dash procedure, which isn't too bad when playing the first level, but by around the 3rd level, it does start to get harder. How hard can it be though?
You know, impersonation is easier than cooking.
So yeah, the game is easy, then it kinda gets difficult the more you go on. Yeah, I know that's how the games are supposed to go, but in terms of the restaurant being filled, about every 1 to 2 days, there's another table that opens up and a new customer that gets introduced into your restaurant. Sure, this doesn't really add much to really anything, but come on, this was an Ubisoft TV tie-in game on a similar level to the kids' movie tie-in games. They try to make as much money as they can, but sometimes they do some of the weirdest stuff, like make Cars 2. This is just weird. The game kinda looks visually impressive on Gordon Ramsay, but that's it. The rest of the game is not entirely good in terms of visuals.
Or even worse.
And you can clearly tell this was a mid to late 2000s TV show tie-in game on a budget when the game on Wii forces you to play in 4x3 mode. I mean, the PC version does get a pass for being an old Windows Vista machine. I mean, I had one before, but it wasn't really fit for modern games. But you're telling me Portal, which came out a year before, runs in widescreen mode, but Hell's Kitchen doesn't? You know they had to follow in the footsteps of that Cars game. Introducing Sonic Unleashed, one of the most beloved games and hated games ever.
Don't worry, it could be both if you wanted to.
The game was good in most ways. Introducing a new style the series will carry out, a new gameplay formula called the Boost games, coming from the DS game Sonic Rush. And it also had 2D gameplay introduced for the 3D Sonic games. Now is this bad? No, I don't think so, but I really need to get my eyes checked though. I'm not a fan of the 2D playstyle here, it just seems a little out of place. We did get Sonic Unleashed on Wii however, but this was pretty much not the same as the PS3 and Xbox 360 one. Sure, it did follow the same plot, but the boost formula isn't really here, and I think this version might have been rushed. But do I have a game for you? It was clear for the next Sonic title on Wii had to be— oh come on!
Sega does this every time.
Next game after Sonic Unleashed was Sonic and the Black Knight, and this was also a part of the storybook series. I don't know why it released on Wii, probably due to the fact that both Sonic Unleashed and Sonic the Black Knight were in development at the same time. So it kinda makes sense if both were nearing completion around the same time on why it released. But of course, in 2010, Sonic Colors released for the Wii and Nintendo DS. Let's get this out of the way. Nintendo DS follows the same plot as the Wii version, but you're pretty much playing Sonic Rush at this point. Nothing more to it. But Sonic Colors is a completely original experience that we severely needed. Sonic Colors started development after Sonic Unleashed, putting this game on the Wii and DS, hoping to capitalize on the audience that liked Mario and the Sonic at the Olympics. So the overall theme didn't really change much from the initial image. Yeah, in development this game was just supposed to be taking place in a regular amusement park, but at some point in development they realized it would be a little bit too small for Sonic, so the idea for an outer space theme wasn't planned, and they also used Disneyland as reference. This was a fun idea. This opened a lot of opportunities. Using an entire planet if you wanted to do for a certain theme?
It could be anything.
Of course, let's talk about the zones in Sonic Colors. Tropical Resort. It's just a space theme park with a view of Earth. It's okay. Sweet Mountain. It's kinda nice to see all the scenery in this one. I like the overall theme of it. Starlight Carnival is in the darkness of space, illuminated by glowing neon light. It's kind of neat, this one. I mean, this one works. It's not as good as Sweet Mountain in my opinion, but it's here. Planet Wisp is the definition of the best zone ever. And Aquarium Park is just an excuse to have an underwater level in a Sonic game. Asteroid Coaster can off.
Okay. I will just mark this as undecided.
And terminal velocity is okay. I mean, there isn't much to it here. It's just the final world, you know, nothing more. The other ones are cool. My favorite personally is Planet Wisp, but everything kind of starts coming together when the soundtrack is involved. And honestly, Planet Wisp has the best soundtrack by far. The Wii U Nunchuck was supported all the way into the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, this does seem like a Nintendo move, trying to continue the success of the Wii Remote and accessories, but they didn't go all wild like they did with the Wii when the Wii released. But of course, back on track, Transformers, more specifically the first one. It wasn't good. I mean, the game itself is fine. It's as good as you're going to get with a video game that's supposed to be a tie-in movie and appeal to younger audiences. So what do? Make the cutscenes seem like they were animated for Nickelodeon bumper from the early 90s. Which we're on the controls, damn it, and we're talking about the Wii tumor today. Now, remember what I said about the Nunchuck being perfect for 3D games? I take that back because I completely regret it. This is the first game that makes me want to quit with this. I mean, do you blame me? These controls are all messed up. A and B is to fire, and pressing one of the D-pad buttons is to jump. The combat's the most useless in this game because you're supposed to lock on with the Wii Remote pointer, but you eventually be unlocking because you shake the Wii Remote to hit. Guess who didn't think this game through? Metroid Prime is a great use of this control scheme. Well, I've got an impression that first-person games were kind of bad with this control scheme. This is actually doable. Super Smash Bros. Brawl proves me wrong when it comes to 2D games with these controls. Yeah, I said New Super Mario Bros. Wii was awful, but it's actually good here. Super Mario 3D World is just begging for me to look at it again, even though I just got done with this game a little while ago. It's fine. It snaps you in one of 8 directions, so it's not a total loss anyways. So how does Mario Kart 8 feel? Okay, I mean, it's nothing special when it's like playing Mario Kart Wii, but with the Wii U Pro Controller scheme. I could tell this was made with the Wii U gamepad and Pro Controller in mind, but it works. And Sega just had to get on that sweet, sweet nunchuck pie too. Most of the Sonic games on Wii and Wii U support the nunchuck, so I'll go through it fairly quickly. Sonic Colors is okay. With the shape of the stick, it's not noticeable when snapping into a direction. Sonic Unleashed kinda stinks with this control scheme. The Sonic racing games feel kinda worse than Mario Kart games in my opinion. Sonic the Black Knight is really the one that stands out for me because you're holding a sword and you swing the Wii Remote to swing the sword. But I bet Wii Music doesn't have a sword. Wii Music. Out of all the Wii games that are titled Wii, Wii Sports and Wii Music support the nunchuck. Wii Sports only doing this for Wii Boxing. It makes sense because your Mii has 2 hands. Wii Music is more simpler though. It's more simpler in the Wii series. You basically don't even have to touch the controller, you still pass. Wii Music requires no skill at all. It doesn't even require you to have the nunchuck on you. But it does make the experience just a little bit better though.
So that was the end of the Wii Nunchuck story for today. There's really only one thing I have left to say is I hope I don't have to look at any more Wii accessories. Irony is a sometimes.